So, hello, Aman.
Yes, sir.
Uh, can you tell me something about you which makes you stand out from the crowd? Any reason why you should be chosen for the civil services and not others?
Sir, in my opinion, one of the good quality I have is I'm a rational person.
Okay.
I try to analyze things properly and then take the decision. I try to avoid taking any emotional decision. So I think it is one of the quality that can help me to be a better public administrator in the future. Also, during my tenure in EPFO, I learned to work with people. With time, I learned to manage people, like how to get things done and when to compassionate and when to strict in order to ensure the targets are completed, sir.
Okay. So, how much time has it been in the organization?
So it's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years. What
Yes,
would
sir.
you say have been your key learnings during your work experience?
Sir, one of the key learning is to how to delegate the work. It is the most problematic thing as well as I'm working as a supervisory role. So my key role is to delegate things. And the key learning from that thing is in order to be a good leader, you need to take the responsibility and lead the team in a difficult situation. For example, recently we were implementing a central pension processing system in which everything was a new. So I, as a leader, took the responsibility to learn and guide everyone regarding that thing and implement that project successfully in our office, RO Kolhapur.
Very well. Do you also have any exposure to private sector?
No, sir, no, sir. No, sir.
Very well. Do you think there's anything in the public sector organizations which can be improved? Perhaps borrowing something from the private sector?
Yes, sir. The idea of the hierarchy can be brought into a government sector. The idea of dissolved hierarchy can be brought from private sector to public sector because in public sector we have rigid hierarchies which often lead to uh, less effective communication as well as backlogs in the system. If we allow flexible hierarchies, then a good idea from a lower position can also be appreciated and implemented. So that thing can be brought. And another thing is we can appreciate the merits. Those people who are doing can be given a better position in the government sector, or they can be given a better incentive in some form or the other so that it can motivate that person to work even harder, sir. These are the qualities that we can borrow from private sector, sir.
Very well. So, Amar, do you think that as things stand, the public sector does not recognize merit?
No, sir, from my limited understanding, sir, in the government sector, everyone is having the same incentive. And from limited 2 year working in public sector, I have realized uh, those people who work more get the more responsibilities and they are often overburdened. So as a supervisory person in my section, I ensured those people who are working good are given enough liberal opportunities, for example, effective leave allocation and all, in order to balance things out, sir. They should not be overburdened, those who are doing the good work, sir. It should be properly managed and balanced among all the people.
Hmm. Amar, do you think that public servants are underpaid?
Sir, in my opinion, we are a low to middle income country. So the current remuneration of the public servants seems sufficient, in my opinion, sir. However, we should appreciate the good quality of work within the system, sir.
Very well. What do you understand by emotional intelligence?
Uh, Emotional intelligence can be seen as a quality in a person who can regulate his or her emotion properly and also understand the emotion of other person and analyze them properly in order to direct his or her own action. So that it should not be irrational. It should be compassionate and it should be effective, sir.
Yeah, the reason I ask you this because in your introductory remarks you mentioned that you take decisions rationally and not based on emotions.
Yes, sir.
You also try practice stoicism,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So would you say you have emotional intelligence?
I think, sir, I have few qualities. the idea of taking a rational decision implies you do not let your emotion decide your action. Your emotion alone decide your action. So balancing emotion, logic, and the situation properly takes time and requires logic. So in this manner, qualities like stoicism, reflective writing helps.
Okay. Um, in which parts of the country have you lived?
Sir, I've lived in several parts of country. My schooling happened in the town level of Madhya Pradesh. Thereafter, I went to Kota for 2 years, and thereafter I went to IIT Kanpur for 4 years. Then I lived in Delhi for around 8 months. After I have lived in Tamil Nadu also, sir. I was working as an accounts officer in Vellore, and now I am working in Maharashtra as an accounts officer, sir.
So you have done Bharat Darshan already, huh?
Yes, sir.
You've lived in 6 places, if
Yes,
I
yes, sir.
understood you correctly. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Um, can you, and where did you spend your childhood, like much of your childhood?
Sir, in the western part of Madhya Pradesh, sir, in Dhar district, Badwani district, in Agar Malwa district, sir.
Okay. So can you give me a sociological profile of the region?
Sir, my region is mostly consist of tribal people. Most of the people are here from Bhil, Bhilala, Barela tribes. It is more of a agrarian economy, sir. And the rituals are pretty much different from the other part of the country. Here, the social setups are different. For instance, we have a reverse dowry system, which is
Can
different
you
from a
repeat that, please?
we have a Dapa Pratha, sir, in our area, which is basically a reverse dowry system. So, from my childhood, I have seen relatively less patriarchy in our society as compared to what I have seen in other part of the country, sir.
And would you say that such customs are community specific?
So it is followed, yes, it is community specific. It is followed across the Bhil, Bhilala, Barela tribes in my region, sir.
Hmm. Tell me, Amar, what do you understand by PVTG?
Uh, uh, PVTG are particularly vulnerable tribes. These are the backward tribes, and these are characterized by stagnant population, pre-agriculture technologies, and extreme backwardness. In Madhya Pradesh, Saharia tribes are considered as PVTs.
Okay. Um, do you think the state should kind of, have a hands-off approach towards the PVTGs? You let them be?
Yes, sir. I appreciate the hand-holding approach toward PVTGs because they're extremely vulnerable, so they require extra support, sir. As different states have incentivized PVTG, sub-categorization or some seats are reserved specifically for PVTG, and it is a very much needed and appreciated step, sir.
Hmm. In many tribal areas, we see that, there are protests against developmental projects.
Yes, sir.
Why do tribals oppose these kind of projects, whether it is mining or large scale industry?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Types are very much connected with the environment, sir. They very much with the environment, and they are very much dependent on agriculture, sir. Also on the forest produce, sir. Another thing is types have this feature of having a community life. Every ritual in a village is organized as a community. So whenever displacement happen, whole community get displaced. So they lose their social identity also. So living or land and living together is part of their identity. If we remove them, they cannot exist or they cannot function in a isolated manner. So displacement become extremely difficult exercise, and also rehabilitation plan is not seems sufficient across the tribe because it's just not the land, it's the community also which matters to them. So that is why rehabilitation is a difficult exercise, and therefore tribes protest for against displacement. Also, we have seen they often not become the part of the development project. For instance, uh, there is this Ultratech factory which is set up near my hometown. But sadly, the tribal land was taken. But sadly, very few tribal people were involved in working as a manual labor or blue collar worker in the Ultratech cement company. So this is the reason tribes are protesting against the displacement, sir.
Okay. So, Amar, what should be the approach of the administration? Like, should we halt these developmental projects? What should we
No,
do?
sir. No, sir. We should not hold such projects. From my understanding and from my personal understanding, after seeing different places of the country, I personally feel land acquisition is very critical for a development of any region. So the ideal approach should be acquisition of land should be there, but it should come with fair remuneration. It should also consider the social factor while displacement. For instance, the right of women should also be considered. A community should be rehabilitated in the same area so that they can still live together. And
Hmm.
also, tribes or people should make the part of beneficiary, one of the beneficiary of any project. For instance, if employment is generation, a certain number of employments can be given to tribes. And in my region particularly, we can focus in Madhya Pradesh region particularly, we can focus on labor intensive industries. For instance, here textile industry can do wonders because cotton production is there, so it can lead to better remuneration as well as since textile industry is labor intensive, it can lead to good number of jobs also, sir. So it should be there, sir.
Very well. What is your sense? Like, is environmental degradation somewhat a necessary corollary of industrial development?
uh, uh, I think uh, I think the relationship is there. The corollary is there. Environment degradation of industrialization often lead to environment degradation. However, this is a important feature of industrialization of any developing countries. So, in the initial run, it is quite inevitable to face the environment degradation. However, with maturing of industrialization, with maturing of our state and the economy, we can counter that particular thing. So we should go ahead with industrialization. However, a good amount of regulation should be there. Regulatory body can be strengthened in order to curb the problem of environment degradation, sir.
Very well. Uh, how do you see tribals, like in terms of their religious beliefs and practices? Are tribals Hindu?
Sir, we cannot say types as Hindu completely.
Okay.
However, good number of rituals are very much similar to Hinduism, and also Hinduism has brought good number of practices from tribes. That being said, in India, tribes are very heterogeneous group. So we can see the level of sensitization differ from region to region. For instance, Meena tribe of Rajasthan can be seen as highly Hinduized as compared
Hmm.
to a remote tribe from Madhya Pradesh, for instance, Paiga tribe, which follow their own customs and rituals, sir.
Very well. Uh, are you interested in understanding religions in general?
No, sir. I have lesser inclination toward learning about religion, sir.
Okay. Will you like to discuss issues related to the caste system?
Sir, I am comfortable, yes, sir. We can do that.
Okay. So, firstly, where is this word caste come from? Like, it's not even an Indian word, right? And now it is all over the place.
Sir, I'm not sure about the origin of caste as a word, but if I have to guess, then I would assume it could be introduced by Britishers, sir, in order to explain the categorization, social categorization of Indian society, sir.
Hmm. And why would they use such a term? In the sense, do they also have a caste system, or does a caste kind of a system exist outside of India as well, whether
Sir,
Britain or any other part of the world?
I'm not very aware of this particular thing, but sir, I guess uh, this is a unique kind of categorization, which social categorization, which happens in India. I think it is in other part of the world also. However, the basis of that system could be different. For instance, the Europe distinction on the basis of language can be seen as a caste system, sir. However, the unique feature caste system has the element of hierarchy, which may not be there in other part of the world, sir. Although I'm not very sure about this, sir.
Very well. Uh, would you say that caste is a Hindu phenomena?
No, sir. In India, we see the element of caste system across different religions. For example, Christianity has a distinct identity for scheduled castes who have converted into Christianity. Also, within Muslim, we can see Pasmanda Muslims, which are seen as more vulnerable. Although the original Islamic idea is to have a egalitarian society, which does not exist. That being said, it is often argued that most of the people who were converts were initially Hindus, and within Hinduism, caste system was originally there. So nowadays, the caste system is prevalent in all the religion within almost many religion within our country. However, it is argued that originally it was present in Hinduism only, sir.
Okay. Uh, have you heard the phrase "Jat na pucho sadhu ki"?
Uh, no, sir, not particularly, sir.
चलिए, then उसको छोड़िए. Uh,
Yes, sir.
tell me, are caste and varn same or are they different?
Sir, they are very different, sir. Varn
Okay,
was
how?
a ancient Indian phenomena, and the distribution of Varn system was largely based on the work one does. If we change the work of a particular person, then in turn one mobility was there. However, castes are rigid hierarchies, and castes are very much further segmented. Like, a good number of differentiation are there within the caste, and they are isolated close group as compared to oneself. So they are relatively different concepts.
Hmm. Uh, have there been any kings who've been, non-Kshatriya? Any dynasties that you can think of in Indian history?
Mm, I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware of that. Sir.
Very well. Uh, tell me, recently there's a lot of demand being made for conducting a census throughout the country. What
Yes, sir.
would be your recommendation? Should such a caste census be conducted nationally?
Sir, I'm in favor of caste census nationally, sir. The one of the idea of caste census can be uh, it can help us to understand the socio-economic background of different castes, and that understanding can certainly help us to support the castes which are not doing well, sir. So, for instance, subcategorization within caste can happen, sir, so that we can incentivize the community, we can help them in order to grow, sir. So caste census should be there. However, there is a caveat. It should not be used as a political tool because it can lead to further segmentization or further communalization of the society, sir.
Mm. Is it advisable to apply the creamy layer criteria to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes?
Sir, the idea behind reservation for SCs and STs was historical backwardness. However, from my limited understanding, I personally do believe application of creamy layer within STs and STs, in order to ensure that the vulnerable, more vulnerable within these community get the benefit of the reservation policy, sir.
Could you just repeat the last sentence?
Sir, in my opinion, we should uh, apply the creamy criteria within STs and SCs in order to ensure the more vulnerable section within this community can get the benefit of reservations. Sir. For instance, within type PVTG will benefit more out of this creamy system within the scheduled types.
Very well. Uh, Chali, let's move to another aspect. You've studied in the IITs, right? Like one of
Yes,
the
sir.
IITs,
Yes, sir. IT campus, sir.
IIT Kanpur.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
was there caste discrimination? Is there caste discrimination in the IITs or higher
Uh,
education in general?
Sir, we can see element of caste discrimination in IITs. Although it is not explicit, it is very implicit. For instance, we have 98% faculties are from general community. There is 2%, less than 2% is a representation of OBC, ST, and SC altogether. And One of the thing which I observed during my tenure at IIT, students who are who are going to IITs are generally more focused into sciences. They have very limited understanding of society, how it works. So there they have very negative perception or connotation among about the people from SCs and STs. So we can see element of seclusion, exclusion, or ghettoization, grouping based on caste identities. Although
Hmm.
that identities are not explicitly on the caste identities, but the rank thing is very obvious. They often ask rank of each other and then make their own groups. So, sir, in implicit form, I have observed good amount of caste discrimination or caste being there in the society, sir.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Very
Largely
well.
because of less sensitization, sir, of the students, sir.
Uh, Tell me, Amar, we often hear every other day now students preparing for the IIT entrance committing suicides.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me a sociological analysis of these student suicides?
So we can call it as a fatalistic suicide as per the Durkheim's framework because these students are burdened with excessive regulation, often by the parents, also by the coaching institute. So we can also call it as a egoist society because they are very much isolated in places like Kota. They live very alone. So it has both the element of egoist and fatalist society as per Durkheim's frameworks.
Okay. So, if you were made in charge of the administration in a place like Kota,
Yes, sir.
what concrete steps you will take to address student suicide?
Sir, one of the important steps we can take is we can uh, take include the coaching institutes and make the counseling wing very strengthened and very significant within every coaching institute. We can make it mandatory for every coaching to have a counseling wing, which is very cordial and which can hire very uh, capable people, for example, psychologists, in order to reduce the burden of the students. And also, we can regulate coaching institutes. For instance, a coaching institute cannot be extreme with students. For example, they cannot take classes 8 to 10 hours in a day for students. And also, we can raise awareness within quota. For example, various social media campaign we can do in order to uh, make student aware their life is more important than any IITs. We can do such things. We can largely take help of coaching institutes. We can also sensitize faculties so that they cannot they should also be aware IIT is not everything. The medical seat is not everything. Uh, there are more things in life than merely these degrees. So student
Hmm.
and teacher and student counseling both is very much necessary, sir.
Very well. Uh, Amar, would you say that IITs are overhyped, or is there, is the glorification legit?
Sir, in my opinion, things are relative, sir. Within India, if we see engineering education, IITs are better. However, I personally think this element of social media has nowadays overhyped the IITs. I think we lost the focus of skilling. In sense, the goal of IITs is to skill people, and
Hmm.
nowadays the skilling had decentralized. Now with the internet revolution, we can say skilling is more important than any degree. So in that way, the importance of IIT has been declining with the democratization of education, and in general, the role of skilling is increasing, sir.
Very well. You were a part of some accessibility review committee.
Yes, sir.
Uh, what was your job there? Like, what was this committee about?
Sir, we were the member of this particular committee. The aim of committee is to make our campus more accessible for people with disabilities. So in our committee, we have analyzed, we have tried to conduct accessibility audits where we try to study the infrastructure within our campuses. For example, during our cultural event, the Pro Night ground where the event happens is not accessible for people with the wheelchairs. So we have ensured the availability of ramp as well as passages are made more than 3 feet wide, so that people with disabilities can also easily enter into the pronet ground, sir. The whole idea of this committee is to ensure the campus is more accessible to people with disabilities, sir.
Mm. Uh, Amar, there's a specific term which the government has adopted over the last few years for people with disability. Are you aware of that
Yes,
term?
sir. Yes, sir. Our Prime Minister has used the word Divyang in his Man Ki Baat in order to describe people with disabilities, sir.
Yes.
Uh,
Uh, can you highlight some of the key policy measures or schemes for the Divyangjan?
Sir, one of the important law which has been recently made in 2016, Person with Disability Act, which has increased the number of disabilities from 7 to 21. And another important aspect of that particular act is to have Accessible India campaign, which is also known as Sukhamya Bharat Abhiyan. The idea of this particular abhiyan is to make India more accessible to people with disabilities. It has main three components. In general, make the environment accessible to people with disability. Second part is to make the transport sector more accessible to people with disability. And third part is internet and communication system should be accessible to people with disabilities. So see, I'm forgetting the name of certification, sir, but various sites can be certified with that certification in order to ensure they are more accessible for people with disabilities. For example, a person who cannot, who is suffering from hearing disability, the provision of subtitle within any video can help that particular person, sir.
Mm-hmm. Uh, is it a fair assessment if I were to say that, amongst the whole spectrum of disabilities, most policy initiatives focus on, facilitating, for example, accessibility for people with motor disabilities?
Uh, yes, sir, we can say that because it is more visible, sir. The physical disability is explicitly visible, and that is one of the reasons why the focus is more on this accessibility, uh, more on people with orthopedic disability. And it is very easy to do that also, sir. Making a ramp is a very easy task and it can be done easily also, sir. So that is why we focus initially more on this. However, with time, we can focus on other aspects also, sir. For example, visible impairment or hearing impairments.
Yes. You've done electrical engineering?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can you
Yes, sir.
tell me some interesting new developments in the field?
Sir, electrical engineering. Mm. Uh, So we can see the modern day processors, sir. They are very much based on 3 nanometer and 2 nanometer architecture. So, sir, these are very efficient as well as less power consuming processors, sir.
Could you just explain that in a bit of greater detail?
Sir, if we use 2 or 3 nanometer based architecture or the processors, so they have very short amount of distance between various components within that processor. So they have relatively less latency as well as they are more efficient in that manner, sir. They are with very small infrastructure, we are able to process good number of, for instance, recent Apple chips are having billions of transistors within the small space. So that makes it
Mhm.
more efficient as well as uh, faster.
Very well. Amar, what would you say are the key roadblocks in, mass adoption of electrical vehicles?
Sir, one of the key problem is the charging infrastructure. Second can be the cost is still high as compared to regular petrol vehicles. Third can be seen as the battery cost is significantly high. If the battery goes out of function, the replacement cost will be very high. Also, within India, we are dependent on importing of lithium-ion batteries from outside of the country. So that also increases our import dependency, sir. So these are the factors which leads to lesser adoption of electronic vehicles, sir. Also, sir, the range is also not as high as we would have expected. It is still less, sir.
So can we expect in the medium term to that these will become like mass market? Do you think
Yes,
that
sir.
these roadblocks can be overcome in?
Yes, sir. I personally think these roadblocks can be overcome. In larger cities, the infrastructure for EV has been is now developing properly. And another thing, we can also go for hybrid vehicles, sir. They are more acceptable by people because it gives them freedom and sense of psychological security. Uh, if they want to go for longer distances. Also, they are becoming now cost efficient. So I am forgetting the name of a country, but recently a bike company is launched here in India itself, or they are importing bikes from China. I'm not sure, but sir, their own road price is only 35,000. It's an electronic scooter, and I can see that scooter in many places within my city, sir. So with time, the cost will reduce, competition within the EV sector will increase, and that will certainly incentivize people to go for EVs. So I personally see in future more, we'll have more EV vehicles in the future, sir.
Hmm. What was the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan about, which you were a part of?
Sir, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan was a flagship program. It was by Ministry of Rural Development. It was initially initiated by IIT Delhi. The idea of this particular program is to use institutes of national institutes as well as technical institutes to play a role in rural development, sir. So, for instance, in our IIT Kanpur, we adopted a village, Nankari. It is a nearby small village. So there we played some role for rural development as a part of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. For instance, we were part of the project where we were making organic waste of the campus accessible to villagers of that particular village and incentivize them to go for organic farming instead of for the chemical farming that was incentivizing for them for better wages, sir. So we were using waste of our campus for organic farming, sir, in Nankari village, sir.
Hmm. Do you think this whole agenda of becoming a developed country by 2047, is it a practical goal?
Sir, it is a challenging goal. Certainly, it's a challenging goal. However, in my opinion, we have a good young demography. So we can certainly use that demographic to achieve that goal. Also, sir, we have 22 years more for that goal. Even if we grow at 8%, we can use the formula of 70 by R. So if we grow it, let's say, if we grow by 9%, in an optimist outlook, then 90, 72 by 8. Within 8, will our economy can grow 860 and 5 times, around 5 to 6 times, sir. And with the economy of 20 trillion dollars, we can be a more than middle income country, sir. However, good number of challenges are there, sir.
Very well. One thing that stood out when I was going through your DAF is that you've not opted for any of the police services.
Yes, sir.
Any
Sir,
particular reason?
Sir, unfortunately, I had a femoral neck fracture when I was in college, and recently I have been through a total hip replacement surgery. So that limits my capacity as a that limits my capacity to become a police officer, sir. I won't be able to finish physical training, sir.
Oh, very well.
Yes, sir.
Uh, okay. And you've been a student of sociology, right?
Yes, sir.
Why did you take up this very different subject for your UPSC examination compared to what you
Sir,
would have studied in your graduation years?
yes, sir. Sir, in our college, we have option to choose for humanities courses in the initial year itself. And in the first year itself, I chose sociology as a course. So from there itself, I got exposure to the subject. I liked the subject very well. And in later year of my college also, I applied for those courses and I liked them. I enjoyed them. Also, I have interest to analyze society around me. So that gave me a natural inclination toward opting for sociology as my optional subject in the civil service examination, sir.
So, Amar, what would you say is the purpose of this branch of study, like of this discipline? Is it an attempt to change the society? What is it?
Sir, the classical positivist view look sociology as a discipline who can change the society. But from my understanding, it is more of a study of a society and largely the study of change in the society. If we see the change of different institutions, for example, marriage or family as a system. So the goal of this particular decision, from my understanding, is to study the change happening in the various social institutions, as well as what are the causal relation of those changes, and to some extent see how the future can be. A little positivist, but yes, we can analyze the change, how the society will be in the future, how why the developing and developed societies are different, in order to broadly derive a causal relationship of various social phenomena.
So are sociologists like oracles?
Sorry, sir.
Are sociologists like oracles?
I'm not aware of the word sir, oracle, sir.
Can they see into the future? भविष्यवाणी
No,
कर सकते हैं क्या समाजशास्त्री?
uh, no, sir. Not really, sir. But they can largely predict a broader pattern that can happen in a society, sir.
Okay, so
Mm.
let's see your powers to do that. Where do you see, like, what major changes you foresee in the India in the coming decade?
Sir, if we can analyze the change through the change in institution, we can see within family, we can see more nuclearization happening. Uh, People, due to urbanization, with urbanization, nuclearization will be certainly a way. Second thing is the inter-caste marriage instances will increase because of the heterogeneous living as well as heterogeneous working. In religion, I see a move toward secularization. Although some element of religion will be there, but I personally see more movement towards secularization. Marriage also as an institution, I personally see will see a little decline. For instance, the new alternatives will be growing. For
I
instance,
can't hear you too well. Is there anything you can do about the noise in the background?
sorry, sir, I won't be able to.
Like, is it in your hands or is it outside?
It is outside of my hands, but I can change my position, sir.
See if that works. I mean, if you have
I can
some.
use this headphone if they are more audible. Hello, sir.
Yeah, please speak now. I'll just confirm. Start talking.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. This one is not working. Sorry, sir.
Acha. So, I mean, perhaps the noise has died down. We can continue if that is the case.
Sorry, sir. Just a second, sir.
That's okay.
Sir, is it okay, sir, now? Okay.
Boliye, please. You were
Sorry, sir.
talking
I could
about
not hear.
secularization. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, I see movement towards secularization. Within family also, I can see the functional alternative might be increasing in future. For instance, cohabitation or living in marriages. Uh, within uh, we can see also reduced in fertility rates as well as rise in heliocentric families. Um, Caste can be seen as a declining institution with future. However, not completely opposite. At least in public sphere, it will decline. It will more of a phenomena in a private sphere. Uh,
Mm.
so these are the broader things that can happen in
Very well.
families.
Would you say all of this indicates that we are becoming increasingly westernized?
Uh, yes, sir. We are adopting values like individualism from Western society. These can certainly be seen as a Western feature. However, the core philosophy will remain as Indian only. Will not let go of our institution easily. And at least in near future, I see our core feature will remain same. However, few feature will change, sir. It will be blend of Indian society and Western society and will present a unique combination of certain features.
Very well. Uh, Amar, who would you say is your favorite sociologist?
Sir, I would go with Pankaj Gupta, sir. If we see Indian sociologist, because he has pragmatic view on everything. For instance, if we see the rise of nuclear family debate, so he's of the view in rural society, the nuclearization is happening more because people are moving to city. But at the same time, he advocates for rise of joint families within city for their economic
He
viability.
advocates for the rise of
Joint families within cities for their economic utility. Dipankar Gupta is also more accurate regarding the scenario of village right now. He sees village as a declining institution, which I personally also feel to be correct. Also, uh, he criticized the concept like sensitization, which see social mobility only from the religion perspective. So in that way, Dipankar Gupta is one of the favorite. And within Western scholars, I would go with Max Weber. Again, he tried to balance.
amongst Western sociologists who?
I would go with Max Weber.
Weber. Hmm.
His
Can
theory
you
of
list
yes, sir.
can you list some of the more popular books authored by Mr. Gupta?
Uh, Sir, as of now, I'm not. I'm unable to recall them. I'm
Never mind.
unable to recall them. Yes, sir.
Okay. Which of Weber's writings has particularly appealed to you?
Sir, the Protestant, I think, theory is very much true in my very much very interesting, as well as the idea of bureaucracy. The
Okay.
Protestant ethic theory, yes.
Does he also say anything about Indian religions?
Sir, he has given a pessimist view or the non non-Protestant view of Hinduism. However, he is criticized for that view because within our India also we have Chettiar community, which has various feature of Protestant ethics. So his view of Hinduism is very limited as well as very superficial. He saw Hinduism as a non-entrepreneurial religion where Protestant ethic or in general the business ethics cannot develop, sir. So they are criticized for being limited, sir.
Amar, what do you want? Have you heard the phrase like Hindu rate of growth?
Yes, sir. I have heard this coin. It was coined by demographer Assis Bose. The idea of this Hindu growth rate is it depicts the slow growth of Indian economy. At that point of time in late 1970s, we were seeing significant growth among our South Asian peers, such as Singapore, uh, and Taiwan, Japan. However, we were not growing at that pace. So therefore, the coin was this Hindu growth rate coin was termed.
Okay, very well. Uh, you say you practice stoicism.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is would you say like that's a challenge that you've taken upon yourself?
No, sir. It's not a challenge per se. It is one of the instrument of uh, calmness as well as to provide some clarity to me. So that is why it's not a challenge, sir. In practices of practicing stoicism, I sometimes practice meditation, and more than that, I practice gratitude writing. So whenever I feel down, gratitude writing is amazing tool, sir. So it helps us
Attitude
to
training, you said.
gratitude writing, sir.
Gratitude writing. Okay,
Yes, sir.
very well.
It's an amazing tool.
Uh,
Yes.
what is your understanding of the notion of virtue? What is virtue?
So virtues are the characters, sir. For instance, justice, wisdom, courage, these are the broader virtues, sir. So in Stoicism, virtues has very significant place. Virtues are something non-negotiable in Stoicism, and they should be followed under any circumstances, even in a difficult circumstances.
Are there any Indian philosophies which can be, compared to Stoicism or share some elements with Stoicism?
Sir, in Hinduism, we can see the element of Stoicism, sir. For instance, the idea of Nishkam Karma, which is present in Gita, can be related to Stoicism. The concept of duality of control, which is there in Stoicism, which says control what is in your hand and leave the rest. So it is very much similar to Sham Karm in Gita. And second thing is in Buddhism also we have this notion of impermanence, which says every emotion or every situation is temporary. One should remain
Hmm.
stable and calm in every kind of situation. Same theory is there in Stoicism, where it says the emotions like sadness and happiness are temporary. So one should remain stable in such circumstances.
Very well. Amma, would you say that Stoicism makes you somewhat fatalistic in orientation?
No, sir. In my opinion, it is quite the opposite, sir. Stoicism specifically focus on things that are in your control, that
Hmm.
are under your control. So it is very rigid on those particular things. The things which are in our control should be non-negotiable, and we should act upon it no matter what the situation is. And it leads to Stoicism argues we should not be bothered about the external factor. So this clarity help one to take the action properly. Otherwise, if one is not clear about these ideas, then one can be all the time obsessive with the external factor and not taking the action which are in his or her control. So, in my limited understanding, I personally believe Stoicism helps us to take the action instead of being fatalistic.
Very well, Amar. So that will be it from my side. Are
Yes, sir.
there any topics where you will be like to post questions where we may not have touched upon or discussed sufficiently?
No, sir, no, sir. I think broadly things are clear, sir.
Chali.
Yes, sir.
So we end our interview here.